Fairies. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. It's not so very, very far away. You pass the gardener's shed and you just keep straight ahead. I do so hope they've really come to stay. There's a little wood with moss in it and beetles, and a little stream that quietly runs through. You wouldn't think they'd dare to come merrymaking there. Well, they do. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. They often have a dance on summer nights. The butterflies and bees make a lovely little breeze, and the rabbits stand about and hold the lights. Did you know that they could sit upon the moonbeams and pick a little star to make a fan, and dance away up there in the middle of the air? Well, they can. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. You cannot think how beautiful they are. They stand up and sing when the fairy queen and king come gently floating down upon their car. The king is very loud and very handsome. The queen, now you can guess who that could be. She's a little girl all day, but at night she steals away. Well, it's me. Lazy Molly. There once lived in Tavistock 2 serving girls. Their names were Molly and Kate, and they were both very fond of the pixies. They knew how these little people love water, and every night before they went to bed, they filled a bucket with fresh, clear water and placed it in the kitchen. In the morning, when they came downstairs, they often found some silver pennies lying at the bottom of the bucket, which the grateful little pixies had dropped into the water for them. One night, Molly and Kate forgot all about filling the bucket, and they went to bed, leaving it standing empty in the chimney nook. Perhaps they had been out or had some friends to visit them, or perhaps they were just very tired. We are not told the reason of their forgetfulness, but there it was. Presently, the pixies came flying into the house through the crannies and the keyholes to look for their bucket of water. When they found it empty, they were very disappointed. "Those tiresome girls have forgotten to fill it," one little pixie cried. "Let us go up and ask them why." So upstairs whisked the pixies in the twinkling of an eye. Through the keyhole into the girls' bedroom they popped and skipped and hopped excitedly about. "The girls have forgotten our water," cried one of them. "It is very tiresome of them," cried another. "We are very annoyed," said a third. Now Kate was still awake, and she heard what the pixies said. She nudged Molly up, who was fast asleep. "Wake up, Molly," she cried. "Wake up at once." "What is the matter?" asked Molly in a sleepy voice. "Why are you waking me? I was having such a beautiful dream." "We forgot to fill the pixies' bucket with water," said Kate. "They are very annoyed with us at our neglect. Listen, you can hear them grumbling and complaining in this room." But Molly just pulled the bedclothes over her head and turned over on her side. "Let them complain," she said. "I'm going to sleep again." "Oh, you mustn't, Molly," cried Kate. "Jump up and let us go down and fill the bucket now." "Not I," said foolish Molly in a very drowsy voice. "I wouldn't get out of bed now to please all the pixies in Devonshire." The next moment she was fast asleep. Alas, the pixies had heard her, and Molly was to be punished for her laziness, as you shall soon hear. "I'll go away," said Kate. "Poor little pixies, they shall have their water." They are always very kind to us." So she jumped out of bed and ran downstairs. She filled the empty bucket and then crept upstairs again. When she went back into the bedroom, the pixies were still there. She could not see them, for it was too dark, but she could hear their shrill little voices quite clearly. "How shall we punish that lazy girl?" asked one. "Let's pinch her all over," suggested another. "Let's nip at her hands," cried a third. "Let us tear to bits her new cherry-colored bonnet and ribbons," suggested a fourth. "Let's give her a toothache," said the fifth pixie. "Let's give her a red nose," cried a sixth. "Oh, she's too pretty for us to do that," cried a seventh little pixie, who was rather kinder than the rest. "I know," cried an eighth pixie. "We'll give her a lame leg." "Not to last for always," said the kind one. "No," replied the other. "It shall last for 7 years. But then it shall only be cured if Molly finds this plant that grows on Dartmoor. Its name is—" and the pixie pronounced very slowly and clearly the name of a plant that had 7 syllables. "Oh, how I shall remember it," cried Kate, who had been listening to the pixies' debate. "It is a very long word. Let me see, this is it." And she repeated the name over and over again to herself until she fell asleep. The next morning, when she woke, the first thing she thought of was the long name. "Oh," she cried, sitting up in bed, "I have quite forgotten it." And although she tried her hardest to recall to her mind, not one syllable could she remember. Then Molly woke and jumped out of bed. "Oh, whatever has happened to me?" she cried. "Oh, Kate, one of my legs is quite lame." "That is the punishment the pixies have sent you for being lazy last night and not getting up and going downstairs with me to fill their bucket with water," said Kate sadly. "Oh, the horrid, nasty, unkind little creatures," cried Molly, stamping her good leg on the floor. "Hush," cried Kate. "Do be careful what you are saying. If the pixies hear you, they may send a worse punishment." Then she told Molly all that she had heard them saying, and how in 7 years' time she would be cured of her lameness if she could find a certain plant that grew on Dartmoor. "What is its name?" asked Molly. "I have forgotten it," said Kate. "All I know is that it's a very long name, but I cannot remember a single syllable." "Oh, how stupid of you," cried Molly, and she stamped her foot again. But it was not the slightest use her being cross and angry. Lame she was, and lame she continued to be in her right leg for nearly 7 years. Then one day, when the 7 years were drawing to an end, Molly said, "I am going on to the moor to gather mushrooms. Come with me, Kate. Perhaps we may find the plant that the pixie spoke of." Molly was not cross about her lameness any longer, and had grown quite cheerful and patient. But each time she went on to Dartmoor, she hoped she might find the plant, the name of which held 7 syllables. "I am tired of looking for it," said Kate. "We have been looking for nearly 7 years now, and all we can find are plants with short and simple names that we know quite well." "Perhaps the pixies have not allowed us to find it yet," said Molly. "They said it was to be lame for 7 years, but now that time is nearly over. Perhaps we shall be able to discover it." "I cannot come today anyway," said Kate. "I have some work to finish." So Molly took her basket and climbed up onto Dartmoor by herself. She knew where the best mushrooms were always to be found, and sure enough, there were more than ever about, and such beauties they were this bright sunny morning. Molly was stooping down to pluck a mushroom, when a short distance away she saw a strange little boy with a very merry face suddenly start up from the ground and come tumbling head over heels toward her. In his hand he was holding a plant. "Who are you?" asked Molly, standing up. The boy did not answer, but he tumbled right up to Molly and struck her lame leg with a plant, and the next moment her lameness had gone. The boy had gone too, so Molly could not thank him. She filled her basket with mushrooms, then hastened home. Kate was standing at the door of the house watching for her. "Why, Molly," she cried, as Molly came skipping gaily up the path. "Whatever has happened? Why, you are not lame any longer." "No," cried Molly in a very joyful voice, "I am not." Then she told Kate about the strange boy and his plant. "That must have been the plant that the pixies mentioned," said Kate. "I don't expect, as you said, that they ever meant us to find it for ourselves, in case you should have been cured too soon. But, oh, Molly," she added, "now you are cured, do be careful never to annoy the pixies again." "You need not have fear of that," cried Molly. "It is much too nasty and tiresome being lame for me to forget. Dear little pixies, I do thank you for sending that plant to make me well again." "I expect the pixies have heard you," said Kate. "I hope they have," said Molly, "for I am grateful." After that, Molly found her dancing had very much improved. She could now dance much more gracefully than before she had become lame, and on May Day, when the festivities and frolics were held on the village green, the best dancer of all who were there dancing round the maypole was Lazy Molly.